All right, welcome to Unit 12. This is 12.1. The whole unit is about measurement and data. This lesson specifically is about converting customary units or standard units. So there's standard units and metric units. Usually we use standard units in the US. Metric is used in most other countries in the world. So we're going to be looking at converting them, measurement and time. Know that you can use a calculator for this whole unit if you want. I'm not testing your multiplying and dividing, so you can just use it to help you with those processes. I'm saying, do you know what to do with the calculator? So this first one, Michaela is making frozen yogurt. How many pints of yogurt does Michaela need? And for how many minutes does she need to freeze the yogurt? So comes in, the recipe gives cups, so she's wondering how many pints. For example, sometimes like when I'm buying cream at the store, it only comes in pints, but I know how many cups I need, so I have to figure out how many of the pints I should buy. It says freeze for 3/4 of an hour, so how many minutes is 3/4 of an hour? So you can convert customary units of capacity, meaning like amount or volume, and time to solve the problem. So I'm going to take a minute and we're going to go over here to your notes. So in your notes, you'll say to convert means to change. Okay, because you are going to change from one to the other. Convert can mean change religions, change other things. In this case, we're changing units. I'll say this now and then we'll come back to it again. So to go from bigger units to smaller units, you actually need to multiply. Think about miles and feet. So if I gave you 2 miles and asked how many feet that was, we're going from something bigger to smaller. Well, I want to say, okay, 2 miles times however many feet in a mile, 5,280, will tell me how many feet. Right? If I tried dividing by that, I would get a really small number, and that wouldn't make sense because 2 miles is a lot of feet. Whereas if we're going from smaller units to bigger units, we need to divide. So if I said 480 seconds, how many minutes is that? Well, I'm going from something smaller to bigger, so I need to divide that 480 by 60 seconds in a minute to figure out how many minutes. Usually if you do the wrong one, you get an answer that doesn't make sense. So just make sure you're thinking about, like, does this make sense? And then before we go back to the problem, I want to go over just some common units that we'll see both in this unit and just in life that are good to know. So the first thing is 1 cup. So like a cup of water is 8 fluid ounces. Now, one silly thing about customary units is there's 2 different kinds of ounces. One's an amount like of water, another one's a weight. So fluid ounces are the amount of water. This you're going to draw a G, that stands for gallons. There's 4 quarts in 1 gallon. So we're going to draw 4 Q's in that P, or in the G, sorry. Now in each quart, I'm going to draw a slightly bigger Q so I can fit. We can fit 2 P's for pints. And then inside each P, we have 2 cups. So then sometimes if it's like how many pints are in 3 quarts, we'll think about, okay, 3 Q's, how many P's are there in all those? Is the visual that helps me remember. Like if somebody was like, how many pints are in a gallon? I don't have that number memorized. I would have to think about it a second. So the visual is helpful. Other common units, you probably know 1 hour is 60 minutes. 1 minute is 60 seconds. 1 day is 24 hours. 1 pound, we can use ounces. Ounces are a smaller unit of weight. Like when I go to the store, I might buy a bag that's 8 ounces, so it's half a pound. And then filling in 1 foot equals how many inches? 12. 1 yard, like a yardstick, is 3 feet. And then 1 mile is 1,760 yards, or 5,280 feet. I won't make you write that. Okay? So you can always come back if you need to, if you didn't get those down. All right. Just keep going. So how many pints? How can we represent? We just talked about pints and cups. So remember, 1 pint is 2 cups because 1 P, there's 2 C's in it. So now we need to think, okay, how many pints are in 7 cups? Or 7 cups is how many pints? Well, if I say, okay, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, this one I can only fit 1, right? Because that's 7. So I have 3 whole pints, and then I have another half of a pint. So we could say 3 1/2. Here they show you a bar diagram. So there's the 7 cups. They just split it into groups like this. So 1, 2, 3, and then that extra half a pint. Another way to think about it is just dividing. Because we're going from something smaller to bigger. Cups are smaller than pints. So then I can do 7 cups divided by 2. Because I'm going from smaller to bigger. So I can divide. And 7 divided by 2 I can write with a fraction bar, which we've talked about, that turns into 3 1/2. So some different ways to imagine this. We can use the P's and C's picture that we have. We can just think about, okay, there's 2 in each, so I can divide by 2. Or if I used a calculator and did 7 divided by 2, I would get 3.5, which is the same thing as 3 1/2. So lots of different ways to solve that. So this they're just showing, yeah, 3 1/2 pints is what somebody would need. So she needs 3 1/2 pints. Okay, so this one is the number of minutes in 3/4 of an hour. Now we haven't done multiplying by fractions, and because we're going from hour to minutes, so we have 3/4 of an hour equals how many minutes, we would multiply. So we do 3/4 times 60. Now, this one, they're showing us here on a bar. If we take 60 and we split it up into 4 groups, it's 15-minute increments. So it's like I'm thinking, okay, 1/4 is 15 because I split it into 4 pieces. So then that times 3 would give me 45 minutes, is the same. We'll do some examples. Because we haven't multiplied with fractions, that one's a little trickier. But we're essentially doing 3/4 times 60 because we're going from a smaller unit to a bigger unit. And again, if I divided, I would get something that didn't really make sense. So 4 miles. So how long is that in yards? I want you to give it a try and see if you can figure it out. All right, did you get it? Again, this one sometimes you have to stop and think for a second. We know we're doing miles to yards, so we need to think, okay, this is the information I need. 1 mile is 1,760 yards. Now, if I divided either way, so say I did 1,760 divided by 4, I would get a smaller number than 1 yard, or than 1 mile, right? I would get like 400 yards, but that doesn't make sense because if 1 mile is 1,760 and I have 4 of them, right? I have 4 miles and each one is 1,760 miles. It wouldn't make sense to divide and get a smaller number no matter which way I divided. Let me just pull up. I think I have a calculator. Oh. There we go. So instead, if I did 1760 times 4 and got 7,040. Okay, that makes sense, right? Because each mile is 1,760. So I just got to sort of ask myself, okay, I know this is how many 1 is. So am I putting groups of that together, or am I like chunking it up? We'll do more practice, and you can always ask if you need more help. Remember, don't wait till the end to ask. Ask as you go. All right. So which operation? We're going to go to 2. So which operation? If we were saying hours to days, so like 72 hours, how many days is that? What operation would we use? All right, hopefully you got it, that we are doing a smaller unit, right? Hours are smaller than days, so we would need to divide. In this case, like I said, 72 divided by 24 hours in 1 day. All right, 36 inches equals how many feet? Use your packet, give it a try. All right, I hope you got it. Remember, 1 foot is 12 inches. It's always good to think about, okay, well, what do I know that connects these two things, right? Oh, I know 1 foot is 12 inches, and I'm going from something smaller to something bigger, so I need to divide. It almost feels like the opposite sometimes, but I can think about, okay, if I have 36 inches, and I know this 12 is a foot, and this 12 is a foot, and this 12 is a foot, well, how many groups of 12 is that? That is 3 groups of 12. So 36 inches is 3 feet. All right, we're going to skip tons and pounds. All right, try using the picture for this one. 16 pints equals how many gallons? All right, did you get it? Well, again, this one's a lot of sort of drawing. If I think about, okay, here's a gallon. Here's my quarts. Okay. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so I have 8 pints in 1 gallon. So then if I have another 8 pints, that would be 16 pints. So that is 2 gallons. Okay, so again, we're something small to bigger. So we're dividing. All right, let's do one more. We got time. All right, 3 years equals how many months? This one's not on your sheet, but hopefully you know how many months are in a year. Go ahead. All right, hopefully you got it. Again, think, what do I know to connect it? I know that 1 year equals 12 months. I also know I'm going from something bigger to smaller unit, so I need to multiply. So I take 3 times 12, and I get that's 36 months. Or I can think about, okay, this year is 12, this year is 12, this year is 12. So sometimes drawing a visual can also help us picture, okay, this group, this group, this group. If you need more help, let me know. Good luck.